Welcome to the Walk-Ons. I'm Jordan Donald with sports editor Spinnaker, John Watson, our special guest from North Dakota, Mr. Jeff Bowe. How you doing today, Jeff?
I'm great, Drew. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. We're here, though, on what's today, a Wednesday? Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, boom, Thursday. Talking to you, Jeff, about your journey, from college to now. So I guess to start off, how'd you get into sports information?
Oh, wow. It started with broadcasting, like a lot of people. They think they can be the next Al Michaels, and they start doing it in college. And for me, it was junior college at Mount San Antonio College in Southern California, where I started doing a bunch of different games. I mean, whatever they'd let me do, I'd announce. No matter where it was, I'd travel. I got to travel with the team a few times for softball, which was awesome. Did a handful of state championships. And then broadcasting just turned into, the love for the game and wanting to work in the sport and realizing that we can't all be Al Michaels. We can't all be on the air, So we have to take what we can to stay in the game and keep going. And that's really the avenue with the writing side of things, like you do, Drew, like I'm sure everybody in this call does, a certain writing, style. And that's really what's kept me to be able to make it a career. So it's been nice.
So where are you at right now with your career? Like, tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, right now I'm the assistant athletic director for a Division II NCAA school up in Minot, North Dakota, called Minot State University. We play in the Northern Sun Conference. There's 16 teams in our conference. It's pretty large, stretching from as far south as Wayne State, Nebraska. To us, we're probably the furthest north of any of the teams. Maybe a competition between us and Bemidji for who's further north, but it's pretty close. So Midwest, first time I've ever been here. Southern California raised, lived in Florida. That's where I met Drew. Was in Florida for a couple of years working, in sports with not only Hammerheads, but the Marlins. And now it's been, those opportunities have been great, and they've opened the door for where I am now.
So Jeff, you're a California kid.
Mm-hmm.
San Jose State, how's your time there? And how did it kind of help you develop as a writer?
Well, I didn't do as much writing during that time, but honestly, reading what Lawrence Fan, the SID for the San Jose State Spartans athletics department, did and what he put together to help us out on the broadcasting side was pretty impressive. I mean, the things that he would put in the media guide, you'd be like, this was 1920. Like, how do you even know about this? Where did you get the information from this? And he's just an encyclopedia of knowledge. And I thought, that'd be great to do that one day. That'd be great to, build this media guide, build this information about our team, research the history. And I know you guys probably love it, looking back into what has happened with your college and, North Florida and all that over the years. So that opened my eyes to that job as a profession. At that time, I was the sideline reporter for the radio station for our football team. So I was more focused on what could I use on a broadcast on a day-to-day or a game-by-game basis, and what information worked well over the radio, because not everybody's reading it. You got to be able to project it to the listening audience. And so they kind of work hand in hand, in my opinion. And when you're doing this job, you're angling what you put out there for the broadcast media, because they're transmitting it wider than you ever can. So that's really what kind of led me to look into the writing side of it. And then, down in Jupiter, I developed as a writer pretty well with recaps every day. You try to write the same 2-to-1 result in a day base, promote, using graphics. And then you start to use all sorts of different outlets for whatever it is you're putting together. And that's where you kind of grow into like a sports information person that's providing news to your fans.
So living in both, South Florida and San Jose, California, do you have any favorite sports teams, or do you favor one side of the country over the other?
Well, I was born and raised in Southern California, so my baseball team is the Dodgers. I have a soft spot in my heart for the Marlins because I worked for them for basically 2 seasons, mostly 1 season. So I pull for them to do well. It hurts me when they lose like they have been lately. I wouldn't call myself a diehard fan of the Marlins, but when it comes down to it, I hope they win rather than lose. I do like Tampa Bay because I worked for the Durham Bulls for a season, and I saw a lot of those guys that are now in that team doing great work, like Willie Adames and just so many dudes that you can't even name that have gone up from the minors to there. And they were with us in 18 when I was there, and they went to the majors, came back down, went back up, came back down. And they had, I don't even know, over 200 transactions that year I was with them. So we had so many players just shuttling back and forth from Tampa. And so I root for the Rays to do well. But again, Dodgers in baseball. NFL, I'm kind of split. I like the Niners since I was a kid, and the Rams because they moved back to Los Angeles. I started pulling for them because it was great to see football back in Los Angeles. We need to get the Chargers back in San Diego, and we can have just the Rams because they draw fans in LA. But I mean, hockey, I'm an Anaheim Ducks fan, and that's probably the most obscure team that people would be like, why? I'd be like, well, I grew up with a Mighty Ducks jersey on. I grew up playing in my driveway with a Paul Correa, number 9, and Teemu Selanne was my, idol. And he's one of the only players that I will not say a word to if he walked up to me at a game, because it's literally happened. He walked up to me at a high school game watching his kid play, and I didn't say anything because I was just like, oh, that's Teemu Selanne. I was shocked, like, he's here, you know what I mean? And so how do you react when you see somebody that you idolized on the rink? So, and then UCLA sports from there on out. I'm a big Bruin fan, diehard.
So the draft was yesterday from MLB.
Oh, yeah.
A guy that was not drafted yet is Dylan Dingler. I have a story for you, Jeff. So Dylan Dingler is the catcher from Ohio State. He hit 3 homers against UNF this past season. Now, I had to cover that game for the college paper.
Mm-hmm.
That one is Dingler hits 3 dingers.
Still one of the best headlines I saw this season.
I like it. That's good. The alliteration is perfect. I would have gone with that, yeah.
And I went to the ALDS last year with the Raisin Astros, and they had a loud chant for G-Man Choi of all people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he's a fan favorite. They love him.
Obscure, chanted for him. But I guess going back to your career, you're in Jupiter. How'd you adjust to doing the constant daily recaps and graphics and coverage of the team?
That was probably, honestly, the toughest job I've had until now. I've only been here for about a month, so I'm still getting used to what I'm getting myself into. But of the jobs that I've completed, the one in Jupiter with the Hammerheads and just the day in, day out grind of, sometimes you have to help out with both teams, the Palm Beach Cardinals and the Jupiter Hammerheads. Sometimes you got to be there. I mean, you feel like it's 10 days in a week, even though it's 7, but you feel like you're going on, hours upon hours, and you're racking up the amount of time you're at the ballpark. And it took a while to adjust. I was actually broadcasting the Palm Beach Cardinal games for the first month, the entire month, while working with the Jupiter Hammerheads. So I was working every day for 30 plus days, and then I just hit a wall. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to get, students involved because no one was volunteering from the college. We couldn't get anybody to come out and help out down. They do kind of a volunteer broadcast opportunity, which is a great internship. And we didn't have anybody signing up for it. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then finally I had to push and say, hey guys, I'm running ragged here, to be honest. I can't keep going. So we got as many people as we could, but there was a whole month where we probably had 2 broadcasts during the summer and no one wanted to be a part of it. So it took a while to adjust. I think I didn't get used to it until after the All-Star game. After the All-Star game in July, it was smooth sailing from there, and I got comfortable and I wasn't working as many hours. I kind of knew what was expected from not only the coaching staff, but the staff as a whole. But you really feel like you're comfortable for half a season. You know what I mean? Like the first half of the season, you're just getting used to how everybody does things and, the nuances of the job. But then from July on, it's like, hey, this is great. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying my work here. And, the crowds that we do get is great to see. So it really took a while to get used to that position with the Hammerheads.
Is that the Brian Schneider season?
That was the Randy Reddy season.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was there for 2 seasons. I think he was there for the first year he was there, I was there. And then the year after, I believe he was the manager before he went up to Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken. So he was a great guy. He was easy to work with. He didn't expect much from me. So it was pretty good give and take with Randy Reddy. I don't know where he's at now, but I hope he's doing well. That's for sure.
So how is it working? You just started this new job a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
How is it, starting a new job during, COVID-19 and this pandemic?
When I got here, my first day, there was nobody else on campus except people in the athletic department.
Wow.
The administration, the people you go to get your ID for staff, the people when you do you have retirement accounts that come with you from another job and you need to figure out how to transfer those over. Like, I know I'm getting into the details here, but just every little thing that you need help with from someone in the administration, you couldn't do. And I couldn't do that for 3 weeks. I had to sit here and kind of just get comfortable with nobody else around. Plus, we were social distancing in the office too. So our meetings were via, Teams or Zoom or whatever, and we'd be in our own office like I'm in right now. That wall needs a picture on it. I need recommendations. But, it was very different, that's for sure. And then traveling out here, it was a ghost town on the roads. There's nobody on the highway, and there's nobody in the hotels that I stayed at. Only 2 nights in the hotel. That felt uneasy. That was definitely something you're a little nervous about, because you don't know, who's been in the hotel, how long's the hotel been open, do they sanitize everything, and at that time you thought if I touched something I could get, COVID-19. So that was stressful, to be honest. But once I got here, I got settled into my new apartment, which I really like. And then I started the job, which is a lot of updating stats, a lot of that. I've been staring at the computer screen, pounding away at the screen, getting, our website up to date. And you're working in not solitary confinement, but you're certainly working by yourself when you start a new job in this kind of situation. And you have people around that you can reach out to help you, but you just got to, tread water on your own and get comfortable and get going.
Now, how does this affect the scheduling for your games this season at Iowa State, Jeff?
We haven't fully determined our schedule quite yet. I know it will not be the normal length that it usually is. We'll know more by the end of June. And that's the toughest part, is that gives me a tighter window to update everything and get everything ready for the fall. And it's nice to have assistants that can help out with a lot of that stuff. So it's big to, have multiple hands. But again, they're working from home too. They're not here. They're doing whatever it is. You may have a side job, it's summertime, so they may want to go on a trip like Drew or something, and enjoy their summer. So it's definitely different. And schedules are going to be shorter. We know that. They've already announced that through the NCAA, how many limitations we're going to have. We're hoping that it stays at the number that it is, because it's not a huge loss right now overall. Percentage-wise, I believe football's losing a game or 2 at the max at our level. So that's big, because, football draws the biggest crowd, brings in the biggest, attention, and that's pretty much standard everywhere. So if we can stick where we are now, it's still to be determined, but it should be a good year, hopefully, for the athletic department.
Sadly, UNF doesn't have a football team, so it's a tough life over here for us. But yeah, like when you're at home in quarantine, like what are your top 3 quarantine snacks? I like to ask this everybody.
I've been trying to see, I don't know if these are healthy, but I've been going with the fruit snacks a little bit. Yeah. I don't know if they're healthy. They have a lot of sugar, but they have vitamins too. So that's been my addiction for some reason to go to. Peanut butter sandwich, ham sandwich. I mean, I keep it basic. I'm not a cooker. I can't make stuff. Sometimes Pringles, sometimes, I'm not the most creative snack guy. Let's just put it that way. I go with the stuff that, are the big brands that everybody's heard of.
Did you meet Kelly Sacco, Jeff? Did you meet Kelly Sacco in Miami at all?
Yeah.
We had her on our show this month. She had the most obscure quarantine snack she told us. Kale chips.
Kale chips?
Yes.
I've heard of that. My sister eats those, so I know some people that do eat those. I've had a kale salad before. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, and I wouldn't eat it again. So to each their own, though.
To each their own, yes. I don't condone kale chips in any regard. I'm sorry.
So of all places you've been, Jeff, what's been the favorite place to eat of all your places you stopped at for working?
Oh, geez. Jupiter had some great restaurants. I mean, we went to an Italian place that had some of the best pizza I've ever had. That was literally from the ballpark. And we probably spent, I don't know. We went there every other day practically, and and I probably spent $30 a week there alone. So that's some pretty good food. I would say that Jupiter probably had options available of any of the places that I've worked at.
So I think my last question is probably, what brings you up to North Dakota? So it's so far up there from Florida, and how did you kind of get into that job?
It is definitely different than every place I've ever worked. I've worked in New England and Maine. I've worked in up in Washington State as well, Palm Springs in California. But this is the most different place that I've ever been. It's plains. It's a plain state. I mean, there are some hills. It's not, you think Dakota, you think, oh, mountains and wilderness. That's South Dakota. You want to head on down there if you want to see Mount Rushmore and the beautiful, more kind of picturesque viewpoints. But what brought me here was the position. This job was too much to turn down. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work, and I was ready for it. I didn't get the responsibility that I quite wanted to in my last position back in Claremont, and I wanted to step it up to grow my career and continue to advance, just like everybody else. You're looking for that opportunity that'll challenge you. And when they explained to me what all I'd be doing, basically a one-man shop with grad assistants, I was ready for it. I wanted to be a part of it. And they also have a track record of sending people up to Division I level as well. I've heard they're like 2 of their last 3 people that have had this position have gone on to Division I schools. And jobs at UCLA, that would be my dream. Going to work for the UCLA Bruins would be fantastic. So the way you get there is you get that experience. You keep trying to step it up and grab that challenge, and most of it.
And lastly, Jeff, what's your advice for guys like John and I trying to break into sports media?
Just keep going. Just keep taking whatever opportunity you can. Don't give up. I've applied for so many jobs. I've interviewed for so many jobs in baseball alone, and you don't get them all. They're not going to offer you every single one. They may never call you back. Who cares? Just keep going. And if it's really what you want to do, keep applying, keep going to it. Obviously, you guys are networking. That's great. Keep getting to know people in the industry and all that. I've had a lot of success with applying online. So people that say, oh, I never get a response, every job I've gotten has been from an online application. So it works. It's not the highest percentage, obviously. Meeting someone and working your way in that way, probably a better opportunity, but it just gain experience where you can. I know both of you guys write a lot of stuff and you do a lot of sports. You take everything on that you, and I've seen your stuff on UNF. I've seen your stuff on Spinnaker. I've liked a lot of your posts on there, and I know you guys have talent and I've seen it. So if you just keep going after it, it's going to happen. It may not happen in your home state too. That not everybody gets a job where they live, and the people that do are very, very fortunate, and it's possible. But as you guys have seen, I've moved around a lot. I've been all over the place, and I don't turn down many opportunities. So just keep going after it and don't say no to a lot of things.
All right. Well, thanks for your time today, Jeff.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.